Hello again, YouTube. This is David, back again with some more thoughts on Robocop. I think what I'll do is I'll actually look at the big screenshot of what I put together here, this little collage of Robocop moments. I hope you'll forgive me that I actually have little shots of Joe Kinnaman in the new Robocop suit up there. I just am of the mind that, just like the movie itself called Robocop 2014, I don't hate this suit. I just hate it when they call it Robocop, which again is just going to be kind of a continuation of the thoughts that I've already talked about before in trying to review Robocop 2014. Actually, you know what? Let me start right here with the most important point to make sure I talk about it this time, because it's something I don't think I stressed enough in talking about how I think and feel about Robocop, the old story from 1987, which really, even though, and this is how great it is, just in a nutshell, it basically is an old movie by now, an old story, and yet it's about the future. And kind of like Rambo Rap for Life said in one of his Robocop review movies, it's all still relevant. All this stuff is still pertinent to the discussions going on today about what's morally, ethically appropriate here and there when talking about things of this nature, of the possibility of well, in the science fiction realm, this cybernetic organism stuff, but more particularly the setting in which the story of Robocop took place back in the 1987 movie. Because let's face it, in that movie, old Detroit really was this demilitarized zone looking place. Chaos, crime running rampant, and just the police force overwhelmed, and also the corporatist element of OCP privately owned this and that, and yet casting all that in the worst light possible. It was just a really neat little story, and yet in this new movie, it looks like any other city. It doesn't look like anything particularly bad, or that people are afraid to go out of their homes at night or anything in that city. It was just all about Omnicorp wanting to make some more money, which really there's nothing new there in terms of that little phenomenon, wanting to make a profit, even though it is seen as particularly greedy, in as much as Michael Keaton's character, he already had these 8209s who work perfectly well in the new Robocop movie, unlike the malfunctioning one in the old one. He had already had them out and about. They were in force in other countries being used as military weapons, and yet he needed more money, he thought. But really, the thing I would want to talk about, for anybody who would be willing to listen to me a little while longer about Robocop, just to finish a few things up, I want to talk about the first and second movies, Robocop and then Robocop 2. I don't really care for the third movie. I'll go ahead and get this out of my system. The thing is, I thought I was such a little Robocop fan years ago, and I'm like, Robocop, like I'm sure a lot of little boys were, because of how neat he looked, and he was a policeman who nothing could hurt him. The whole emotional drama of how it was a real man who had lost his family. These are things kind of like I said in my earlier movie about Paul Verhoeven's own words about his childhood in a war-torn country, how things that he saw didn't register until later, about how gruesome and awful things were. I've just lost my train of thought trying to connect so many things to this one little thing. But okay, let me just go with Robocop 3 and get it out of the way so I can talk about the other two that I really like. I thought it was such a little Robocop fan, but I didn't actually see the third one, even though I remember distinctly seeing this commercial and him flying in that trailer. like, oh wow, and he's like shooting a missile and blowing up a truck or something. But anyway, I actually did rent the movie, and this was, I guess, was in my late teen years. It's been like over 10 years. I'm going to be 30 in a couple months, and I'm constantly thinking in terms of a decade now because I finally got into college after working at a shipyard, my first real serious job for 1 year in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And then I was able to go to college full time to get the some college status that I needed to get into the Air Force because they didn't want me not having the some college without having at least the some college status of 15 hours or better college credit hours because all I had was a GED because I had been homeschooled the rest of my education after a few years in public school, and then I was in the Air Force for a little while and then came home, and I've just been kind of spinning my wheels for really almost 6 years now. But I only mention all that is because the time in my life when I saw Robocop 3, it had to have been before that. VHS, rented from an old video place, cassette tape, even though DVD was out by then, I do believe. I remember renting this VHS tape and watching this movie that just for some reason seemed different than the first couple of movies. It really did. And I couldn't put my finger on it then, but I was like, well, it's Robocop. There he is. He's in his suit. So this is a Robocop movie. But really, the only memorable things about the movie were I remember seeing the ED-209 and thinking, hey, that's the thing from the first movie and everything. And even one little shot, now that I remember it from the second movie. And he's having problems as usual. And I think OCP Communications mentioned the horrible scene about how the little girl turns him into a harmless puppy or whatever, but the only thing I really remember from that movie really is the one scene where it's like it's like he's in his reboot chair or whatever little thing they had set up for him. He's been shot up or something. I forget what even happened in the movie. I know it's about OCP. Maybe it was like a Japanese takeover of the company or something and trying to build old Detroit. I don't even remember really what all that was about. Just that RoboCop had to fight the samurai robot at the end and how awful the thing looked. Even when I was a kid, I was thinking, let's look a little outdated or something. It looks kind of silly. Anyway, the one scene I remember was the little girl. I think OCP Communications said her name was Nico, but I don't even remember her name, so I'll just go with the name he said, Nico. I'm not even looking at IMDb right now. I'm just trying to get on to the two movies I do like, RoboCop 1 and 2. The one scene that I did like from RoboCop 3 was he's in that chair. Her parents had died. It's like they're actually killing people, clearing them out of their houses, and like intern camps or something. Like literally putting people into temporary prisons and executing people to get them out of the way because they wouldn't leave their homes. Something like that. But yeah, he knows all that because, as usual, he's got all this information being fed into him, into his cybernetics, whatnot. So he knows all this stuff. He knows her name, the little girl Nico he's talking to, and I just remember this one scene. I don't even remember the actor's name who played RoboCop in RoboCop 3. I like Peter Weller best of all, of course, but just him saying, "Do you love your parents?" or something like that. Kind of a creepy moment actually. Now that I think about it, if that's what he said, because all I remember are these words, the ones that I remember when she says yes, because he realizes that they've been killed, and he's like drifting off in space, staring off into one point on the wall or something, and saying, well, and the music changes to like lighten the mood. He says, well, as long as you remember them, they're not really gone, or they're not really dead, or something like that, without actually telling her, breaking the news to her that like they've been executed or something. That was the only kind of memorable thing that I remember from the whole movie, and even then, that's kind of, I just don't know about it. Let me just go on and move to the first two movies. RoboCop 1, I already mentioned that I saw this one at a young age, and how, yeah, I'm seeing Alex Murphy get shot up by these horrible bad guys, and it was one of those things where I was just kind of left to myself sometimes. If I would watch a movie, I might watch that movie 100 times. Seeing Mr. Kenny blown apart, it was like it was nothing to me because it wasn't registering. Now I might almost want to like fast forward and get on with the story, but then, and even the guy at the end with the "oh help me," the guy acid guy who had gotten acid on him, and then Clarence Boddicker ran him over and basically blew his body apart. That kind of stuff is like, well, it's just part of the movie. But enough about how it registered on an emotional level in terms of the violence and stuff. Let me just talk about what I liked about the movies. Clarence Boddicker, that '70s show guy, as I think of him now, even though I didn't watch that show all the time, I'll always know him as Clarence Boddicker, a very bad man. I liked the first movie because of what I like best about Robocop, the original, from this newer movie, and it's something that Michael King actually mentioned: the journey that he makes. Because I think I said in my first video how it's like it's just a different take on this situation, but really, the way I see it, the whole idea of the cyborg, as I tried to mention in my first video, how he was their property, legally or whatever, how they took away his memories, not just the rest of his body, but they took away his memories, makes such a 180-degree difference in direction that the story takes you in your mind and your heart as you're trying to put yourself in the movie and in the shoes of this character who you're looking at and who has suffered and is on this journey. And it's the journey itself, how he starts out in Robocop as this machine, and how he doesn't have any memories, only it's like they left in all of his police training and stuff, and that's why I guess they wanted a policeman, Bob Norton did, to be the person to literally go into the Robocop program. How he doesn't have his memories. He is a machine, just like in the way the second movie, the evil scientist woman, I'll just call her evil scientist woman, says, "You're a machine," and then she has him repeat after her, "and nothing more, and nothing more. I type it, you think it." And how great that scene was, as bad as it is, how great it is in the second movie. But just the whole scene, and really this is all you really get in the first movie as far as this emotional journey. There's this thing, and that's why I have this little snippet posted right in the middle of the screen here. Murphy, Alex J., Detroit Police Department, deceased. When he saw that, and with Lewis's words, that whisper going through his mind, really in your mind, as your mind is just blown away, especially if it's the first time you've ever seen the movie, "Murphy, it's you," and just repeating over and over again how he emoted, Peter Weller did, just with the bottom of his mouth, the shock of it, that this machine just realizes right here in this one moment that he's not really a machine. And both times, and I'm going to talk about this now, both times the great line, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me," when he first breaks into that place, serious as a heart attack, tells the guy, "Don't move," and he moves like he's going to make a move on him and shoot him. He shoots him dead. And then the other guy, what was his name? Emil? He's going for a shotgun. The way Peter Weller, his face, the way he did that is like serious as a heart attack. And when he says "dead or alive, you're coming with me," like I come in the name of the law, like type stuff. And it's just the look on Emil's face, not once, but later on when he says it as Robocop, the look on his face again, that same expression, like he's serious, like not just serious, but it's almost like, I don't want to say the judgment of God, but it's like I'm going, yeah, that is the truth, and nothing else in this world is gonna change it. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. And it's just, I love that part of the movie. Except there was kind of a confusion with the second time. He's like, "We killed you. I know you. You're dead. We killed you." And then the place blowing up, and that's why he first starts to investigate into anything related to Emil. He finds out his accomplices. He sees the face of the guy who he'd already had flashes of in his reboot chair, Clarence Boddicker himself. And it's just the journey that he goes on, going to this 548 Primrose Lane, Detroit, Michigan, and seeing that, well, this is a house for sale. And he walks in, and the parallel scenes of the little TV going, talking about this house comes with this and that, and comfy and cozy, and he's trying to sell the house. The little salesman in the TV is, and there's Murphy walking around, and the way they did the parallel scenes where it fades from present to this past memory of things that he did in his house, taking the photo with his family, his wife saying I love you and all this stuff, and then it's just back to nothing, present time. His family's gone, and he's this thing now. It is more powerful the way that they did it in the original. And in Robocop, this new movie, or Cybercop rather, it's like, it's not that at all. It's not just a different take, it's a completely different direction because of the memory. He still has his memories. And really, there isn't much difference. I think I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Not much difference because of that one thing from him, Joe Kinnaman's character is Alex Murphy in the new Robocop, from anybody who might have had some bad accident and has a prosthesis now and still wants to be a policeman, except for the extent of his injuries, which again, it was kind of sick and a really weird, sick thing that they actually showed snippets of his body, and all he's lost really is a leg, maybe one of his arms, but most of his body's still there, and yet they actually take away all that except his lungs and stuff. I thought that was kind of, ugh. It's like, well, you're really rubbing it in our faces that he's their property now. And again, his wife being the one to sign over his body only solidified that idea that I just put out there, that it's just to save his life and give him an experimental prosthesis and wire things into his mind to not allow him to do certain things and be a policeman and be their little puppet and be something they could use to sell more robots to the world. Omnicorp or whatever it was in the new movie. So yeah, that was that. And as far as the bad guys go, again, it's like there really were no bad guys in the new movie. There were some really intimidating guys in the original movie. Clarence Boddicker, he's a vicious, soulless killer, and I'm about to forget the name of, Dick Jones. How he was basically the same kind of thing in a suit, you realize, because you don't see it at first because he does it in a suit. He's an executive. He's legit. He's just a businessman. Surely he would never be involved in anything wrong. But in a way, it's like he's worse than Clarence Boddicker because he's the one who pays Clarence Boddicker to do the stuff. But yeah, in the new movies, like there were no bad guys at all, just greedy people who, when things weren't going their way, you see they're willing to do even worse things, kill people. That's what I got out of it. And it's like, yeah, that's a PG-13 movie right there. And again, the difference in the stories, the difference in the way the story is told, really, and I said that correctly, stories, because these are two separate stories altogether from the old Robocop and the new Robocop. And again, I want to say that the special effects stuff, the CGI in the new movie was really decent, but the old stuff and that old suit and the way that they had the stop motion with the ED-209 and stuff, practical explosions, that movie is not outdated. Robocop, and even Robocop 2, the stuff it's as good now as it was then. Practical stuff and just done well. And that's the key. Done well by people who know how to do it, instead of just manipulating a computer screen and graphics until you kind of get what you want. Even though, again, some of the stuff in the new movie, really did look good, but there's a charm to the old stuff that it can't be beat, really. And when they showed, I didn't care for what they said in the new movie about the old scene, but when they showed, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't miss this. I'm glad I wasn't gone to the restroom or something. Uh, when they showed the old suit in the new movie, I was like, when I saw it on that screen, I was thinking, man, does that look good? The way it looked on the screen and stuff, it didn't look exactly the way. I mean, it was the same suit, but the way it looked on that screen, it was like, man, that that's some good stuff. That's a bad boy right there, you know. Um, but yeah, moving on to the Robocop 2, Kane as being a different kind of bad guy from, for instance, the first two movies. I thought this movie was a solid sequel, really, and because they've already had these bad guys, just regular guys. Now let's have another RoboCop and put this evil brain into the machine and have RoboCane. I thought, well, that's the next step. That's the logical sequence. Who knows what they would have done in a good RoboCop 3 movie, but I'd like to think it would be something along the lines of what OCP Communications had said, that he had the idea of uh, just a whole lot of, I suppose it would be like the Iron Man robot looking things from the new movie, only done better and more formidable, maybe more like RoboCop, only not cyborgs, just robots. When I saw that movie RoboCop 2 as a kid, and this is another time, especially when he goes nuts at the end, and it, well, not nuts, he's just being himself, killing all those people, and especially when uh, what was the character's name? Let me go ahead and look at IMDb and try and get her name right. 1990, man, I'm old. I know Gabriel Damon, that was Hobb. Uh, we're going to have to look at full cast and crew just to see her name, because I can't remember it right now. It was Kane's girlfriend, is who I'm getting at. Uh, and unfortunately, I can't remember her name in the movie right now. But for instance, when she's trying to talk to him, I mean, I remember watching it as a kid and just thinking, "Oh man, you need to just be running for your life. This thing is a horrible monster, and it's scaring me." When she tries to talk him down and even say weird little things like, "It's different, but it can take some getting used to or whatever," and then the way his face changes, and you don't actually see him killing her, but that crunch crunch sound and throwing her down and stuff is like, I was terrified when I saw that movie way back when. And then Hobbs, I'd like to think that when RoboCop said, "I won't leave you," and he knows he needs an ambulance and stuff, and Hobbs knows he's going to die, even though he was this vicious little killer, this vicious little drug lord, drug dealing kid, that maybe if they had had a scene, one of those little flashes, the way he had a flash when Hobbs had shot him in his helmet earlier, like, "Can't shoot me, can you? It's against your programming." That maybe a little shot of his son in his mind, and because they changed the movie there, the music a little bit, and it's like it is meant to elicit a little bit of emotion from you as the viewer. At least I think so. Because he's bad. He's bad at the bone. He's bad news. He was about to bribe a mayor and hijack a city and everything else, and go on to be just like all the other bad guys before him. It's just he's still a kid, and RoboCop, he's not going to go against his programming or Alex Murphy's uh, sense of right and wrong. It's like it's a kid. It's a kid that's dying in front of him, and so I don't know. I thought that maybe he was thinking about his son there as he had to let go of his hand and he died and everything. it's a neat, it's a neat. I thought that it was for it not to be directed by the same guy. That so much of the stuff in RoboCop 2 was it had that same like over the top characters. That the mayor, I'm thinking of the mayor, the way the mayor was. You seen how old man is like talking to the old man and how great his character was, even though he was going to take a bribe. The way he freaks out at the end when he sees it's the RoboCop, that when it's Robocane who shot up everybody and killed everybody, and only he escaped. He's like, they sent him, they sent him, they are crazy. And the ending fight uh, between RoboCop and Robocane really good. Goodbye, Kane, and you're coming with me, Kane. It was all just done so well. It was memorable. But the new thing that I saw the other night, it was like it happened so fast. It's a blur of CGI, and you don't really know what happened, except he got some of the ED-209s to shoot each other basically, and his partner Lewis, like Superman, jumped in front of all those bullets so that it would stop shooting him. I'm like, man, I don't know if I could have done that. Really, really gutsy move by Lewis at the end of that movie. But yeah, what I basically just wanted to make clear in this little follow up was that the journey to me seems to be completely different, because it seems to me that take for instance from when RoboCop starts to realize that he is in fact Alex Murphy. Maybe halfway halfway through the first movie, and then to that ending scene where he says, the old man asks, "Nice shooting, son. What's your name?" That little grin, that little smile when he says Murphy, and the movie ends. And even at the end of the second one, kind of maybe not as good, but as he starts to bolt his helmet in or put a bolt into his head, and Lewis is talking about he could get away with this scot-free, nobody can touch him, talking about the old man literally walking over a woman's body at the end of RoboCop 2, because it's like he literally has billions of dollars protecting him. But him saying, "Patience, Lewis, we're only human," things like that there's actually a journey. But the thing is, I don't know how else to say it, but that the new movie seems to be just it's a learning to cope with what his new life is going to be, which granted that's a journey in itself, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same kind of thing, because in the original RoboCop you basically get this sense that Alex Murphy might have to. It would have been neat if in the third movie they had the thing where he's looking at his own grave, but that maybe he ends up having to rescue his own family from something. That would have been awesome. Well, maybe not awesome, but a great movie. Really, really done. Like just a great movie and a great trilogy overall. It would have been this solid trilogy, and the only solid trilogies I can think of are the original Star Wars, and I guess the Lord of the Rings, because they're based on the books, and I really can't think of anything else right now as far as solid trilogies. Everything else seems to be messed up along the way or in the third movie. But it would have been this solid thing. But as it is in the new movie, he has his memories, he has his family, and it's just about him learning how to, by the end of the movie, deal with those who would hurt him, and finally get to go on as RoboCop. And they're gonna probably have a sequel of who knows what threat is next. And the thing is, they've already had him trying to rescue his family in the first movie, when that would have been this really great. Think about it, how emotionally satisfying after the whole, oh my goodness, after the whole they made in the second movie, they made this to honor him, and his wife saying, "Don't you know me?" and all this stuff. It's like, I don't know you. And how emotionally satisfying, even if they had waited all these years to do it, just forget anything related to RoboCop between RoboCop 2, how great that would have been if that had happened that way, with actual action and not necessarily a PG-13. Or if they could get away with the kind of action that they did try to in PG in might call it PG-13 in the new RoboCop, but just do the movie well, the way the early movies were done well. Because I just finished my rant on sabotage, and I want to emphasize this idea of doing things really well. They could have had the same movie, different dialogue, different method of telling the story, and it could have been really great, or more powerful, or more memorable. Something that you might actually watch one more time in your life instead of saying, I'm sorry I saw it the first time. But yeah, villains, and it's all related to the company, how evil that woman was in RoboCop 2. To get his brain, she's willing to murder the way Kane was a murderer with his messianic complex, and Jesus had days like this and all this stuff. How she killed him. She killed that guy. She finished him off to get the brain, and how evil it was. The kind of things that RoboCop, it's definitely a darker, grittier thing. The idea of this good cop, this good man, his mind in one of these unstoppable machines as being a force for good against all this company who, in a way, they produced him, but they also mainly are after, they want to produce things that'll make them money and kill a lot of people so they can sell things to the military and everything else. But it's really a watered down thing, that is, in the new movie. All summed up really in Sam Jackson's over the top character, which might be the most memorable thing that I'll think about and try and. He's the kind of guy in that movie, the new RoboCop, that I'm going to end up wanting to try and do impersonations of, or say other things the way that he said them in that movie, because it's just good stuff. What else can I say? The journey. They say the journey is the destination, and really, I guess that's what the old RoboCop, the good RoboCop 1 and 2. Not sure what else I can say, but yeah, that's what I like about those old movies. And again, didn't really care for RoboCop 3. RoboCop 1, an especially good movie, and as much as when when RoboCop busts into that warehouse and kills everybody except one guy's knocked down, and he's about to kill Clarence Bodiger, but he said, "You're a cop," and he has to be reminded, "I am a cop." How great that is! Like he's like this angel of death or something. He's killed them all these murdering, raping, drug dealing thugs. They're just bloody messes on the floor. He's about to kill him when he had to remind him, "You're a cop. They control the cops, and you're a cop." He's arrested him. He did the right thing. He's a cop killer. Book him. What's the charge? And how the guy got out again, and he had to deal with him again, and that whole thing. The way Peter Weller had his face at the end of RoboCop 1 when he says, "I'm not arresting you anymore," and how his eyes were bulging out, like there was emotion in his face as he was walking in the muddy water toward Bodiger. Just so many things that just, I guess I could go on and on. I really could pick the whole movie apart. Maybe I should just go ahead and, I've already done this video. Maybe I can do a little more instead of doing each movie one at a time. What else can I say? I don't know. Maybe I'll just throw another video together one day. But again, when it comes to Robocop, all I've ever seen is Robocop 1, 2. I saw 3 on VHS long ago, and this new movie. All of my memories, all of my what fanboy part of me that exists was really for the old the older stuff, I guess. And again, I was really entertained by the new movie at points, only because I did a Cyberman lobotomy like he had during the movie on myself and said, this isn't Robocop, this is Cybercop. And so I called it Cybercop, and I let myself be really amused at certain parts of that movie. But this has been my rambling follow-up to my rambling review of Robocop. And maybe I'll do some more, or maybe one day just jot down some different parts in different movies that were powerful to me or that I think about sometimes, and just make a video just about that. Because it's really, my reviews are more about what I get from movies and from other art, maybe as time goes on, than the movies themselves. I mean, I like to talk about the acting and how well the director did, but mostly my videos are just going to be about what I love, what I get out of things, which I hope is the main reason that these works of art, these movies, books, and music and everything are produced in the first place. So thanks for listening to me again, and we'll see you next time.